I am Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 176 with Michelle. Um, what have you been reading? I've been reading It's Your Body by, and the subtitle is The Young Woman's Guide to Empowered Sexual Health by Dina Mose, RN and certified nurse midwife. And obviously I'm not a young woman, but I think it's a great book. If you have any young women in your life, and even if you have young men in your life, like it's important to know options are available about birth control and all of these things. And there sure are a lot more options available for birth control than there were when I was younger, which I was like, I don't know, it was good seeing them all laid out like that. Hi, Michelle.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty just a little. I got my shingles vaccine yesterday,
Oh,
so I'm a little bleh.
oh,
But there's never a good time.
yep.
So
Yeah, I did that a couple years ago, and it was pretty rough. I thought my
I'm,
headphones were connected. How's my sound? I thought my headphones were connected, but it chose to not use my headphones.
it does that sometimes. Your sound is fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
leave that part. Well,
yeah.
it's so
I'm
good to see you.
you too. How are you? And you have a project. You have a film that's out. Please tell us about it.
Well, I have a very small part in a
Every
film,
part
but the
is important
experience,
though in making a
yeah,
film.
well, and the experience was so great that I think, especially given our connection to the
Yeah.
grief and trauma survival community, that people need to know about it. It's called My Dead Friend Zoe, and on the surface, it looks just like a film for veterans recovering from PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the core of the film is for anyone recovering from grief. And it just released yesterday. It's an indie film from Legion M, which is sort of a crowdsourcing
Mm-hmm.
type company. It's directed by a veteran, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
his story, but he's chosen to tell it through the eyes of two women. And he intentionally chose to tell it through the eyes of minority women. But it's got some great people: Ed Harris, Morgan Freeman, Sonequa Martin Green.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a background
Oh,
part
fun.
in some scenes, so you probably have a hard time finding me. But the experience on set was so great. I've been on a few background jobs, and 90% of the people in the film were veterans,
Wow.
and the actors were so great with the veterans. And anyway, it's a good film. I think people should look for it if it's in your
Mm-hmm.
area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Sounds like an important
Thanks for
film.
letting me.
And it's nice. I think it's always powerful when people can and do tell their own stories instead of someone else
Yeah,
telling it for them. So,
yeah, it's
um,
really great if you get a chance to see it.
yeah, the veteran experience. So many people are veterans, and yet
Yeah,
we don't see much by them. So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
otherwise, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. The sun is shining. I'm
Oh,
in the
nice.
Pacific Northwest, and during this time of the year, we can have very short days and a
Hmm.
lack of sunshine. So it's shining today, which is always a good mood boost.
Hmm. For sure. I lived in the Pacific Northwest for 9 months. I was not cut out for it. I
Yeah,
It's not good for me. I was like,
yeah.
I need more sun than this.
Yeah.
Um, well, is there anything else before you read your poem?
No, I think I'm just thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad to be here.
Of course, I'm happy you're here.
All right. You ready for me to
Yep.
roll? Okay. Where I'm from. I am from dark motels and foster homes, houses where secrets hide, cigarette smoke and stale beer bottles spilling from piles inside. I'm from sagebrush fields and potato farms where poor families glean to eat, stealing corn in plastic bags and shucking it to freeze. I am from the Adams and the Woodruffs, Depression settlers from the East, blue Bonnet containers and plastic bread wrappers. We didn't waste a single thing. I am from maternal abandonment, my soul shaped by an incessant need to fill the gaps for others, the ones they'd never filled for me. I'm from a dead father, a family found too late, DNA matching cousins with no stories to relate. But if they want to know me, I'd say I am a social butterfly, my late uncle's moniker for me, the first in the family in college, my late grandma's pride, indeed. I'm the big sister of Chris, my first mom gig. I'm the one who takes care of hard things, the body identifier, and the last forgiver, and the last song singer, and the last breath keeper, the last soul soother, the last that was left to bear the weight and soothe the pain, be who I needed to be, to take care of him and her and them despite my own needs. Today, I'm still strong. I've always provided for me, breaking chains and changing pain. The shame, though? The fucking shame ends with me. Thank you.
I try not to cry, but these days it's really hard because I'm already a crier, and then lately life is just really.
It's right on the surface always right now. I agree. I agree. No apologies ever
Oh
necessary.
my God. Um, your friend is saying things in the chat. I don't know if you can see them, but let's
I
see.
can see that.
Okay, good.
I love you, Kim.
Yeah.
She's one of my biggest
Oh,
supporters.
I mean, you need them. I need
Yeah.
them. I don't really know how people keep writing without them. I don't
Mm,
know. Like, I'm still not to that place quite. I feel like I'm getting closer where I just can do it
yeah.
regardless, but it is, I think I try to be that person actually for a lot of people
Yeah.
because I feel how essential it is. Like, even if it's just a small, I really felt that in your poem too. Like, we survive from small kindnesses sometimes. So,
Yes.
sometimes those are the only kindnesses we get. And my mom talked about that a lot when I was little, that that's how she got through her childhood. And I think that they matter, not only to people who are in crisis, but to everybody.
They do. They do. We have
Yeah.
to see the light in the little, we have to find the little bits of light.
Yeah.
I know I've had a hard time writing for probably 6 months.
Yeah. It's been hard.
My writing has felt trivial, like
Yeah.
unimportant.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm not a huge advocacy writer. That's a different type of
Hmm.
writing.
Hmm.
I'm a trauma
Yeah.
writer. But my friends, they give me the courage I need to go on. And so I'm hoping I'm starting to roll through it again and
Yeah.
continue writing because writing is resistance. So,
It is. Especially the
yeah.
kind of things we write about because you're shining a
Yeah.
light on, conversation. I feel like in general, just talking about things that deeply affect us and are true is resistance. Like we're not like putting a glossy coat of paint on something to spruce it up so people like it. Like it's just like this is my reality. This is what I live with, and so many people live with it. And like you say, the shame. I think the shame is so paralyzing,
It
and
is.
yeah,
It is. And the funny thing I've learned through trauma writing, and honestly, I didn't really start trauma writing until I lost my brother to COVID in
yeah,
2021, which is how I found you through the sibling loss community. And I was writing some historical fiction, playing with essays a little bit here and there, but time just felt really short. And as I started to share my experiences honestly and
mm-hmm.
openly, I found more and more people
Mm-hmm.
stepping forward because if you don't write about it, you feel alone, but also the people reading it feel alone. And if you can fight the shame and
Mm-hmm.
if you can find the light in the dark places, then they can too. You give them the strength and courage, and they feel less alone. And so, um,
Yeah,
yeah, they bring us closer together, even if we're far apart
I
physically.
agree. I think that's been a hard switch for me to flip personally. Like I understand it intellectually because books and writing really saved me when I felt so alone and, not really worthy of the space that I took up in the world. And I am still like working on realizing that you don't have to be a best-selling book. Like the words can have power regardless of how many people read them.
Right.
I think we just live in such a late stage capitalist
Yeah.
society that
The
we
expectations are way
yeah
up here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's built that way because that helps silence people because then it's like, well, if you're not hugely successful, then just shut up, you know. Um, but I think just like small kindnesses, like those words matter. It doesn't need to be Cheryl Strayed. It can be us saying
Yeah,
things, and they
yeah,
matter.
yeah. Honesty, honesty and authenticity is
Mm.
more important than putting on a false front. And I saw something recently that said, you know, give yourself credit. If you have 6 people that read your words and
Mm.
commented, can you imagine sitting in a room or seeing 6 people in real life that said, hey, your words touched me? Those six
It's true.
people are
Yeah.
huge. And so the social media expectations of going viral versus like if you're in real life talking with people and they tell you your words touch them and made them feel something, that's huge.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
such a good point. I mean, one person, right?
Right.
Like, I
Even
mean,
one.
mhm.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking to somebody and they tell you you helped,
Oh, that's
you know?
so huge. I've had a few of those moments, and they matter more than
Right.
anything, really.
Right. So, yes. So I'm grateful you're out there doing the work you're doing. Moving my leg. Sorry, sciatica.
No
Might
worries.
make noise. I feel like I'm a bag of skin and bones, but I'm doing it. Um, yeah, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I'm so grateful that you reached out to us. I it's the sibling loss piece has been so I don't know, it's been so surprising.
Yeah,
Like all the your friend is so lovely. Thank you.
she is
Um
amazing.
um uh I just I saw what Lynn was doing, what she was writing about, and it so helped me begin to unpack my grief
Yeah,
decades later. Um and I just wanted to sort of help her reach more people. I didn't really have a plan. You
yeah.
just kind of keep doing the thing that feels important. And the people I've met, including you, I don't know, they just like you just feel seen in a different way.
You know, nobody prepares you. You get prepared for losing your grandparents, and I mean, it is hard also losing
Yeah.
parents. I don't think you get successfully prepared for that, but there's always the kind of knowledge that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nobody prepares you for losing a sibling who's, the person you've known the longest in your life, except your parents,
Mm-hmm.
but then as we reach our middle ages, a sibling, and even when it happens when you're young, but I mean, when you lost them, they're the person that's the closest to you, they share probably the most DNA
Yeah.
with, and nobody really talks about how or what that loss feels like. And so when I saw the project, had to support it. I'm so thankful to be a part of it. I continually go back and read the things that are there and go to the website and
Oh,
look at the people's photos with their siblings
that's really
because it
wonderful,
really
right?
it really matters. It's just not something that's talked about enough. So I'm so thankful for the work you and Lynn are doing
Thank
in that
you.
arena. I'm looking forward to the book when it's released.
Yes, we're working on it.
Yeah,
It is a process.
it is. It
A
is
book
that.
is no small thing, but it's really I mean, it is moving forward.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, that's all you can do,
Yeah.
like it's,
It'll happen
yeah,
when the time's right. It will happen.
I mean, it's happening.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen this year.
Yeah.
So that's our goal. And I think it will. So yeah,
Beautiful.
it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
you just keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
one step in front of the other. So,
Yeah.
yeah, people don't prepare. I don't know. People don't talk about it. And I find that people I have talked about it with in my life, even if we're not friends, like somehow it comes up, we do feel bonded to each other, which
Yeah.
happens with all kinds of different. And I would assume you feel similarly to people who grew up in foster care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with trauma. If you deal with, childhood trauma,
Yeah.
and when one person's not afraid, and when one person can overcome the shame and share what they're feeling, another person can connect to it.
Yeah.
Um, and that matters today in today's age.
Yeah,
Matters
for
always.
sure. Oh, yes. So, what was the process like for you writing this poem? or reading it, but writing is usually the question.
Yeah, it's one of the few things I've written since last late fall.
Yep.
Um, and I'm always looking for inspiration. And I found your site, and actually before you sent me the template for it, I kind of already had it written. I just kind of went with it, adjusted it a little bit from there. It's funny. Besides being in foster care, I dealt with abuse and a lot of different things in my life. My friend Kim knows that I've had quite a life until I got to therapy in my 20s. But it is hard to pick just a little bit to write about. So I just went with what came up first. But I think I've seen you say that you can rewrite these many times in your life and tackle a different set of things. And so this was my first set of things. I was writing a piece about handling the ashes of my family right around the same time of this, because at 53, I'm the oldest person in my family. I have no parents, I have no grandparents, I have no uncles or aunts. I only had one uncle, one brother that I knew. I have found another half brother out there, but so I was writing about handling the ashes of my family and over the years doing the hard things, and it's kind of what inspired a lot of this. I think I was submitting it to a flash fiction piece, but anyway, it was kind of the theme at the time, and that's kind of what inspired this. But I know I could sit down and write another one later if I sat and overthink this one too much. I could think of a lot of other things to fit in there, but I'll let it roll.
Yeah, and Georgella has written tons, so many. So she was kind of the first person who was like, you could just keep writing them, and I was saying yes because I do my own. I try to do one a year on my birthday, and my birthday's in January, and I was like, oh boy,
Yeah.
and I had sort of made this intention that I wanted it to be kind of more sunny because there were a lot of wonderful things in my childhood, obviously. Lots of beauty and kindness and I wanted to, but it was like, man, I really set a challenge for myself right now because the fires and the clown in chief, like there was a lot going on, but I was grateful that that I had the prompt. It was good to write it.
Yeah. We end up being so many different people in our lives. So rewriting, I like the idea of doing it on my birthday because rewriting it really shows where you're at in this time and place. Rewriting it again is a new where you're at that time and place. So I like that idea. I think I'll take it on as well.
Yeah, and it was like I wouldn't if I hadn't sort of been like, okay, I'm really going to do this because I just wasn't. I don't know if you are aware of or you do parts therapy, but when you said the thing about, we have so many different lives, that has really brought that home for me. Like you really have all these different parts. We all have these different parts who are sometimes taking the wheel, even though they really shouldn't be. But I don't know. I have found such some peace, I think, and I don't know. It's profound, I think, for me. Like reconnecting with these pieces of myself that I think I spent so much time sort of trying to get over or feel like they serve their purpose.
Right.
And, so.
Yeah. I just was writing recently on a piece about, I was talking about some of the therapy I did in my 20s and going back to talk to little you and give them the words that they needed to hear, a common thing in therapy. And recently had a huge epiphany with another writing course I'm doing that you should look at little you also as a hero.
For sure.
And that probably also influenced this.
For sure.
And so when you turn around and you look at little you and the things that they went through, and even though they had to develop unhealthy things to cope, they developed unhealthy things to cope. Yes. They got you here.
For sure.
And that little you wasn't just a victim, they were a hero. And so that has kind of influenced me lately on writing and seeing, and not just little you, but then medium you and 20s you, 30s you, 40s you, and no more shame.
Yeah.
And honor the person you were then, even if those weren't choices you'd make today, because they got you to today.
Yeah.
no shame for doing what you had to do to survive. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm like kind of floored sometimes. Like, wow, you really made some bold choices, knowing that they would be
yeah,
have very serious repercussions and changed my life.
yeah,
But just feeling like, well, this is what I have to do to find out who I am and live
yeah,
my life. And
yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know I don't want it to look like this.
And it's okay to be a different you today than you were yesterday or 10 years
Mm-hmm.
ago or 20 years ago. We get to change. We don't have to pick who we are like they said in school, who are you going
Can
to
you
be when you grow up?
imagine, to be
Oh,
honest, what a ugh,
yeah,
handcuffs?
yeah. I can't.
I mean, I had a limited imagination. I certainly grew up in a like town society that was like accumulation of wealth was the be all end all. That was it,
Yeah,
and it's so limited. Um,
yeah, it really is.
yeah,
There's no reason to limit
yeah,
us, right?
yeah. Well, anything else, Michelle?
No, I think, I can't think of anything else. I'm just happy to have time to talk with you. I'd talk with you anytime. Uh,
Same.
hope you're hanging in down there.
I am.
There are more of us writing and resisting and supporting each other than the world thinks some days, or that we might think some days. So, uh,
It's good to be reminded. I think I
yeah,
was just talking about it. This series, obviously, I think you got my email. I sent to everyone who's participated because I'm going to hit 200 this summer, and it's been life changing for me to have this every week to look forward to. That I know that I'm going to be in conversation with someone, and I'm going to. I haven't really thought about it before, but yeah, help put their words into the world and be supportive and be the person that I need in my own writing in life. Um,
yeah,
it's
yeah. It's an amazing thing. This is my first Instagram live, so
That's so true
um,
of so many
yeah,
people that do
yeah.
this.
But what a great experience. You're always great to talk to, and yeah, and thank you for doing this. Uh, Thank you for putting people's words out there and sharing yourself so authentically as well.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's my pleasure. I'm so grateful. So, thank you, Michelle. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and thank you for sharing your words. They meant
Thank
a lot to
you.
me.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nope. Didn't know how it worked, but you get it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Did we miss out? Here we go.
Hey.
Oh, I didn't know that was even supposed to happen. Wow. I just did it because I do that. It didn't work on
No.
mine, but
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
But anyway,
we
yeah.
got one.
Okay. And your friend also to a heart in the bottom. Thank you. Kim? Is that her
Take
name?
care.
Or am I making that up?
Oh, yeah. No,
Okay.
that's her name, Kim. She's
Thank you,
given us
Kim.
one too.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.
Okay, bye.